Happy Saturday, my friends. So, today I want to talk to you guys about some marketing that is out there online, especially for telephone agents. And what I mean is these famous final expense pre sold deals. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, go on the search engine right now and search for final expense, pre-closed deals, pre-sold deals, and tell me what you find. Okay. So go ahead and search it now and show me what you find. Well, what's happening is that there's a lot of overseas marketing companies that, again, either don't know USA laws, or maybe they do, but they don't understand the severity of how these laws work. But what they're doing is not only are they generating leads illegally, but they're also soliciting USA consumers, selling them an insurance policy, and then they gather all the information, how much they could pay, banking, social, everything. And then they sell that to a life insurance agent in the US of A. And then the agent has a completely pre-sold application, and then the USA agent does a 5-minute enrollment, and he can do 20 of those a day. That's pretty much, in a nutshell, what's going on. So, what I want to do is talk about, my story that happened over the course of the last 2 weeks, mainly to bring some awareness to all of you guys that have seen these so-called pre-sold final expense deals. This is for you. So the first one, the first violation, the law that we're going to talk about is California Insurance Code 1631. And I encourage you to look it up. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm an insurance agent of 21 years. But I have a team of lawyers that obviously I ran this by and again asked. But I myself am not a lawyer. So, California Insurance Code 1631, what that says is that you cannot act, solicit insurance products. And that also includes, for example, if you have an unlicensed person emailing quotes on your behalf and that person's not licensed, that's a violation. So, again, you got these people overseas that are soliciting and breaking that California code 1631. The second one is California Civil Code 1798.81, I believe. Look it up. And this has to do with companies that, collect sensitive information, personal information. What are they doing to protect your client's information? Let's be real. A lot of these centers overseas, they don't have anything in place. In fact, in most cases, they're running most of this off Excel spreadsheets and circulating this information definitely within the US of A and wherever that center's at, breaching that code that I just shared with you. Then we have the TCPA, which basically says that you cannot call anybody, especially if they're on the do not call registry, without their prior written express consent. Much less you can't text message them, regardless if they're on the DNC, you can't text message and use any kind of automatic dialing system, or else you're looking at violations there. The DNC, those can be up to $43,000 per violation. Look, guys, we can make mistakes. That's why if we make one mistake by calling someone by mistake, we can get a pass. But anything over once, now you're dealing with the problem. For example, yesterday I settled not only a TCPA complaint, but also an agent that was using these overseas centers to sell insurance for her. And I held this agent accountable for 7 unsolicited phone calls to my private cell phone, not to mention she had this center overseas that attempting to sell me some final expense insurance. And I was able to document the whole process, the whole operation of exactly how this agent and this overseas centers were working together. And again, doing it without a license, breaking all of these, laws that I just shared with you, all for what? Well, from the agent's standpoint, well, that agent's cutting a corner. Why? Because all the agent has to do is show up, do the enrollment, and they can do 10 and 20 of those a day. For an agent that's licensed, that's doing it the right way, the agent that makes the presentation, collects all the information, gives the quotes, well, it would be physically impossible to write all of those applications simply because of time and the fact that you, as the agent that's licensed, has to be the one doing those functions. Not to mention, this agent had these people circulating private information. And according to the civil code of 1798.81, I mean, your name is enough for them to be breaching that kind of information. So, guys, is it worth it? Absolutely not. In fact, this agent, we settled for 5 figures, and she was looking at $500,000 just in fines and penalties, not just for the TCPA violations and DNC, but when you add the fact that she had unlicensed people doing the insurance solicitation, that makes the TCPA and DNC like, like nothing. So it's important to be very careful when you're online. You see these marketing companies out there promoting these pre-sold final expense policies, but I'll be the first one to tell you and caution you to be careful. In this case, this agent, she has no money to afford having to settle with me. And she had to figure it out. Why? Because she broke the rules, bottom line. And is this person a good person? I'm sure she is. But again, cutting corners eventually, in this case, cost her a lot of money. And for a lot of you guys that are out there, you're trying to find a good lead source. You're trying to find a way to sell insurance, but at what cost? Look, I've been doing this for 21 years, and it's not going to happen overnight. You got to understand that the build a block of insurance residuals is going to take day in, day out, year in, year out. It's going to be a lot of hard work. 21 years. But at the end of it, when you build the residual income, it's just that long term. So invest in your business. Take that extra time to do good marketing. Make sure it's done right. Because what good is it to have this big business if it falls and crumbles because you cut a corner? So, again, look it up, search it online. Final expense pre sold, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Peace. Don't do it. Don't do it.